So I'd like to welcome everyone to the Dowsing Support and Continuing Education. This is sponsored by the American Society of Dowsers. Every second Tuesday of the month at 8 o'clock Eastern, a panel of experienced dowsers, usually just one or two people, join me to take up a discussion on some aspect of dowsing. So we start with a topic. This call deals with a topic geared to basic information, and then that might be of interest to many people, as opposed to the Discover Dowsing, in which I interview a dowser on her own unique or his own unique specialty that might be in the advanced category and not something that most dowsers or beginning or intermediate can leap into. We also have a water dowsing that Sharon Help runs. Each of these different teleconferences has their own number, so you might note that. So next Tuesday, we're going to have Ellen Kami talk on 5G and dowsing and herbs and some other things. So that's really interesting. And then we're having Feather Anderson come on in May, which will be really unique. So tonight's topic is dowsing on habits, the good, the bad, the ugly. And joining me tonight is Margaret VanLaan Martin, who is from Chico, California. And Margaret is a professional psychic, medium, astrologer, Reiki master teacher. She runs the Age of Aquarius business in Chico and consults nationwide. Last year at the West Coast Dowser, she talked on dowsing to get rid of bad habits. And I have myself talked on dowsing on habits, not just bad, but also installing positive ones for ASD over the years, at least twice. And so I'm a hypnotherapist based out of Charlottesville, Virginia area. I have a farm here, and I actually dowsed out the exact location of my property before it went on the market. So just starting off the whole topic of dowsing to dump back bad habits, I'm going to mention right off the bat that if you are not a member of ASD, there was ASD sends out the announcement, and it includes some background information. So if you didn't see it, there were two articles that I put up and one of Margaret's. So the dowsing to dump bad habits was one, and another on stop smoking. So you can see mine also by going to my blog, which is unlimitedpotentialhealingcenter.com. And as for the Margaret's PDF, if you did not get that, if you are not on ASD's mailing list, then you can email either Margaret or myself to get that PDF. My email is RoxanneLouise and the number 2 at gmail.com, and Margaret is Margaret at ageofaquariuschico.com. So the most important thing in dealing with habits is to make a decision and a commitment. Unless you do that, nothing's going to happen. It's got to be a decision, and this decision has to be yours, not somebody else's, and not a should goal. So it's goal setting and habit change are integrally related. They're very much the same thing. Has to take a decision and has to be a commitment. You have to have a big enough reason why you want to do this. Now, we're talking about bad habits, there's a reason why you want to get rid of that, what you call a bad habit. What's the downside if you don't change? In other words, what's the negative consequences? So if it's smoking, for example, you might have health problems. I've had people come into me as a hypnotherapist, and they want to stop smoking because they're going to go into surgery, and it's very important to have cleared the nicotine out of your body before you go under anesthesia. So that's one of the downsides for a habit. So what's the downside if you don't change the habit you have? And you want to get really clear about it. What's the upside if you do? What's the benefit? What are you going towards? And hopefully you want to really strengthen both ends. You want to be really clear about the negatives and be focused in on the negatives that you don't want, and also very strongly the positive, and identify with yourself as being your true identity, being with the positive habit you want to install. So if it's a problem of being late or procrastinating, not showing up, not following through on commitments, you can say, that's not me. That's not who I really want to be. That's not how I show up. I believe that I am a person who, I want to be the kind of person who shows up, who follows through on what they say they're going to do, whatever it is. So you want to switch your identity to being the way that is going to have the kind of habits, have the positive habits you want to have. So, and what is it that you want more? More than the cigarette, more than the ice cream, the potato chips, the beer, more than lying on the couch and avoiding the responsibilities that you have. So, one of the people that I like, I've studied with, is Anthony Robbins, and he says that all motivation is carrot and stick. So a donkey can either be hit on the rump to get him to move forward, or he can have a carrot dangling in front of his face. You can have a guy who is, you know, he's very laid back about his appearance, but should he meet a really attractive girl, he's going to clean up his act because he has a reason to do that. So carrot and stick, you want to increase both what you're moving away from and what you're moving towards. You can have such a strong move towards something that you don't need to stick at all. But sometimes you need to have both, because if you think about it, how many people just jump out of bed because they love their work so much, or do they get out of bed because they don't want to lose their home? So you want to increase your motivation to move forward. Now, there is something of resistance to change, and there's allowance of change. And you can douse out the percentage of, on a 0 to 100, what is the percentage of my resistance to changing this habit? And then, and note what that number is. And then what is my percentage of allowance to actually changing to this positive new habit? You can use a multiple number of methods to change that resistance. Now, resistance and allowance are part of your consciousness, and I'm going to ask Margaret in a moment to talk more about that. But consciousness is also part of the identity that I mentioned. So many times when you have a resistance to change, even though you think you should, or you consciously want to, or think it would be nice, many times your unconscious mind thinks it's helping you in some way with this so-called bad habit. So for example, lying on the couch instead of doing your taxes might be because you're afraid of making a mistake and being audited. So it's protecting you. Habit of procrastinating can also be some sort of fear that you have, or fear of making the wrong decision, for example. So what is there a benefit you're getting from your bad habit? What is it doing for you? So let's take smoking again. The smoking habit can have started because it gave you a way of bonding with the hip kids in school. It gave you a way of showing to the authority figures that you were going to do what you wanted to do, and then they weren't going to tell you what to do. There can be frequently a benefit. It may not look like a positive benefit, but it's still achieving something for you. And so
it's for sure serving you, right?
Pardon?
It's for sure serving you. You know, I mean, that's
yes.
I love that. What you're talking about is that at some point the habit served us.
Exactly. And so it can serve us in one point, but there can be frequently with habits and Margaret, you can jump in at any point, but frequently with habits, the part that started the habit can be frozen in time. So with smokers, they are still the 14-year-old kid or the 12-year-old or the 16-year-old. So, Margaret, would you add to anything I've said, particularly the whole issue of consciousness?
It's so true. I mean, the habit started out because we thought it was serving us or it was helping us be something that we wanted to be. And so at that level, you know, we made that decision. But then I think it gets stuck in us, and then I think it gets, you know, but we keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not serving us anymore, but we keep doing it because we haven't tried something different, or we haven't suffered enough yet to want to change. So
right.
I totally agree with you that it just you have to really, it can't be because somebody wants you to change the habit. You're
That's
the
right.
one that you're the only driving seat on the habit. I mean,
right.
You can have, you know, loved ones say, "Oh, I want you to stop smoking." Well, you know, it's not going to happen until you're the one that does it.
So here's where it works and here's where it doesn't work. If somebody says, you know, I really would like you to change this, and you agree with them, and you see there's a benefit in it for you, then it works. But if you don't see if you don't see the benefit, it's not going to work. So what you can do is douse out the question: is this habit that I want to change, that I've had difficulty changing, is it doing anything for me? And if you get a yes, then jot down some possibilities, just brainstorm, and always include the word other on your list and see what you get.
Brilliant. Yeah, because that way you're, you know, that you can actually look to see what's holding you there, you know, what your stuck is.
Right. Now, let's say, for example, you know let's say, again, it was smoking, you were 14 years old, you were trying to be part of the in crowd. So we have a possible benefit of bonding with the in crowd or being with the popular kids. So now what you can do after you've doused it out is that you can have a talk, communicate with the 14-year-old that's stuck inside of you, and ask that 14-year-old to release any belief, perception, or judgment that smoking today is going to make you part of the in-crowd. Things have changed.
Right. And now, I mean, you have to go hide outside somewhere if you smoke. You know, I mean, so, it's really the opposite of being the in-crowd.
Right. So you can say, I release any belief, perception, or judgment that smoking is doing anything beneficial for me today. And I erase any erroneous thoughts that smoking has any benefit in my life, and then you can name what they are. You can also have a list of modalities of one, which could be emotional freedom technique, for example, and if you douse out that using the emotional freedom technique or some other modality would help you get rid of the hooks that this habit has in you, then you can do that. All right. So once you know what you want to change, what you want to get rid of, and what you want to install, and it's very important to know what you want instead. So
I totally agree with that. I think that that is what gives you a better chance of, you know, being able to actually replace it with something else that you want instead.
right. So going back to the smoking, one of the benefits of smoking is that it causes you to take those moments, those brief little moments through the day, to
of relaxing, right?
Exactly. You walk away from your computer or your workplace. You go outside, you get some air, you get up, you move around. So
yeah, you stood up. It's
right.
No wonder
so you
that
still want to do that.
Of course you do.
But now you want to do it as a fresh air breather. So you go outside and you breathe in fresh air. You might walk down the hall and say hello to some people, but you still give yourself those little mini breaks. And you can ask
you have
yourself,
a much better chance. Yeah.
So then you can ask
because
yourself,
otherwise your body wants the break and you weren't giving it.
Right. Margaret, do you have any other examples like that?
I was thinking of food. And so it's the same thing. A lot of times I think we use food as a way of taking a break. And so finding out what else, right, that we can replace that with that gives us a reason to stop doing whatever it is and do something that we find, you know, more satisfying, like smoking or eating. And so what can we do in place of that that we also enjoy?
Well, what I've done is I've had herbal tea because I don't need sugar in it. I can have it just the herbs. It's warm, it's soothing. I get up, I go and boil the water. So I'm just taking a moment. I'm waiting for it to steep. I pour it, and while I'm pouring it and waiting for it to steep, I might be looking out the window at hopefully a nice view, and depending on what's going on, or I can walk outside. But
you're making it a ritual, right?
Exactly.
You're making it a lovely ritual, you know,
right.
so that you actually are getting to enjoy that instead of, you know, running to the cookies and grabbing a handful of cookies, you know, because that's, you know, stopping you from doing something else, you know, whereas the tea is actually healthy.
Right. So you can, again, when you ask yourself, so what am I going to replace this habit with? You can brainstorm on paper again, include the word other, and just think of things, especially if it's compatible. So, for example, eating and having tea are compatible. You're still putting something inside your mouth. And you're taking that break. If you were going outside to smoke, go outside now to breathe fresh air.
Right, go out the front door instead of the back stoop.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because you want to change the associations. If you were smoking on your patio in one chair, move the chair, or now, or the table, or just do it differently.
Right, so that you're in a different position.
Right. There's got to be a different connection. So, for example, if you smoked in the car, or you would do something else in the car you don't want to do, then you could have carry music tapes on you and pop a music tape in, or something that so activates your mind or makes you happy or whatever. By the way, when we're talking about shifting moods, if your habit is to lift your mood or reduce stress, please consider music. It is the fastest state changer. So I recommend with any of my stress clients, they have 3 types of music at handy access: happy music, relaxing music, and inspirational music.
Yes. And anything to do with laughter, too, I think helps.
Absolutely. So you're going to need a strategy. And you can ask, a part of the strategy can be simply doing some research. You're asking, what has helped other people? But what helped other people is not necessarily what's going to work for you. So, but it will give you ideas. And again, you can write it down and douse out. There is going to be a need for focusing on why. So, focusing on keeping on track. And you can simply, if you have a wall calendar, you can just have a check mark of, okay, I did this today. And so you're checking off every day that you were able to follow your strategy, or every day you were able to do the new routine. Old habits will die if they're not fed. However, if you feed it, it re-triggers the whole thing again.
Right, even intermittently, yeah.
So you need that consistent action.
I recommend that people make a list of the things that they can, like you're saying, that you can replace your habit with, and then reading that list out loud to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
yes.
I recommend short-term, medium-term, and long-term things that you love. So short-term, like you said, could be getting up and, going outside and taking a walk, or having a cup of tea, or reading a chapter of your favorite book, or listening to music. And then long-term could be planning for a trip with your grandkids. So, and then something in between, maybe a weekend getaway with someone. So if you have all these different ideas and you've made lists of them.
All right, Margaret,
can just
take
keep
over.
On adding.
Margaret,
you can keep on adding that in. Mm-hmm.
I have to check on something super fast. Would you please
No
take
problem.
over?
Absolutely. So I have found for me that when I want to replace the habits with things that I love doing. And so I love all kinds of things. And if I've enjoyed them before, there's a good chance that I would keep on enjoying them, and I can use the things that I enjoy in place of the habits that I don't want to have anymore. So for instance, for me, I actually would use travel, reading books, listening to music, visiting with friends, teaching my classes, the things that I love doing all get on my list. I also have short-term things that I like, and so they can be even like certain food treats if I choose to do that. I certainly wouldn't want to douse out of food and then make that my treat, but there are certain things that can be really helpful as a treat. And then I make sure that that's something that I can access quickly. So on some habits, when you're wanting to do something, if you can immediately replace it with something healthy, then it's going to be so much faster and easier because you have the strategy that Roxanne was talking about.
Right.
So yeah,
substitution is the easiest way to go.
Isn't it though? And I think it helps, I think, to completely release the habit from your body. And my belief system is that energy follows thought. And so if you write the name of the habit out on a huge big piece of paper and then douse it out of your body onto that piece of paper, you're actually releasing it from your body. And
right.
then you can replace it by reading the list into your body. And you can ask your pendulum or other dowsing item, how to, have it show you how to release and how to accept. And so you can use a pendulum or something to release it from your body onto the paper. Then you burn the paper, and then you can use the pendulum or any other dowsing method to replace it as you read your list. So do the same dowsing routine as you're reading into your body the new items that you want.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
That has been, that is the fastest for me, is to actually let the dowsing change the way my body is structured, for want of better words. I guess, and energetically change it. There you go.
Mm-hmm. So there's something called, that I wrote about, one of my 3 Reiki books that I wrote is on a Reiki drawing exercise, but dowsers can do it too. So as Margaret was saying about writing the thing you want to change on paper, and then you can put one hand down on the paper as you have the pendulum in the other hand, and be sending healing intention to heal any need or purpose for that old habit you want to change. You can also write an affirmation: I release any need or purpose to do or have to have or feel compelled to, whatever it is.
Yeah, hang on to the old one. Yep.
And then you can, as Margaret was saying, put the positive thing you want to have on another piece of paper. Index cards work really well for this. And put the new habit on that, and what you want to, and put an affirmation with it, and then do the clockwise spin to spin it in as you are installing it. And again, I'm going to say, switch your identity to a person who easily and effortlessly has internalized the positive habit you want to have.
And right, and that's, like you said, just by making that statement, you've done that, and your body is going to be happier to do it. Right. Because I think our spirits are always happy about this, but it's our bodies are the ones that are holding back and wanting to retain that, the old thing that we did, or the habit, the reason for the habit. All of that, I just think, is a lot more body level and a lot less spirit level.
All right, now I'm going to say something that most people don't even think about. The consciousness that created the habit or is maintaining the bad habit can have come from family, ancestors. It come from past lives. You don't know where it really originates. So for example, let's say somebody who has a drinking problem. We know that a lot of people who are alcoholics have family members and ancestors that were also alcoholics. There is also not just the alcohol, there's what is the alcohol doing? Is it allowing someone to escape the feeling that life is so overwhelming, or so depressed, or feeling hopeless? So you want to think of what is behind the habit that you want to change, and send the healing to the root cause of the issue, wherever it is in yourself, your relatives, your ancestors, and then also clear it out for your progeny in all existences, all lifetimes. So when I did that on I've had a habit of holding back, of not actually showing the world who I really am. And I know where it came from, because, I was put to death a number of times for being,
and have you noticed how that slows people down in current lifetimes if they've been killed in previous? It's just like, your poor body goes, oh my gosh, she's doing it again. She better be quiet,
Yeah, but it also can be something that we picked up because we saw what happened to other people, even if it didn't happen to us personally.
Yeah.
So these patterns, negative patterns, what are you calling them, habit or inclinations or disinclinations, you don't know the true origin. So when you do the dowsing to clear away any need or purpose, hold the intention that it go to the root cause, wherever that is. And so once I
whatever
did
lifetime.
that, right. So once I did that, things really started to shift and change. And I was able to then more step up to the plate.
That's so neat. And you figured that out on your own through the multiple different modalities of work that you do.
Yes.
I mean, that's the part that's amazing. And would be super helpful for people that, you know, because I think we're all stuck in, like, yours was not allowing yourself to be to your fullest potential. I mean, it could manifest in multiple ways with people.
Absolutely.
And so that could give them clearing and freedom, you know, in their life.
So, for example, let's take someone who drinks. They might have drink or drug or self-sabotage in any number of ways because it's dangerous to be too successful. It's dangerous to be too effective, powerful, or whatever. So they use
too
these
popular even.
Yeah. So they use bad habits to keep themselves safe.
Yep.
And that's what I was doing.
Wow. Yeah.
So now, habit change has to have a positive attitude in your belief in your ability to succeed. If you don't think it's possible, you're not going to even try. But when you do a releasing statement, the positive opposite has to literally smash into smithereens the negative. So you want to have many more positive statements than the negative. So you say, I release any need for, and then you go on to, I now choose to, and you go on to at least 3 positives. The other thing is you can ask what your soul wants you to do. What is your soul encouraging to do? And is that what's really there? So say, okay, you want me to do this, then help me get it done.
Exactly. I love it. We went to the same answer. That's a perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by release, so habits make our energy lower. We don't have as much spirit in our body when the habit is taking, place in the body and, instead. And so when the habit is released, we can have more of our spirit in our body. We can have a higher vibration. The higher our vibration, the more we're going to be able to manifest what we wanted, what we really came to do in this lifetime. And we all came to make changes in the world, and we're all doing them, and we're all doing it at whatever level we can, and it's fabulous. But do you want to do it at a higher level? Release the habits that are holding you back. Release, and from all the different lifetimes and from all the different, genetically. I mean, every way that you can possibly think of releasing it, do it. It's not overkill. I don't think you can do it too much. I think you can, the more you release it and the more you replace it with the things that you love doing, you're just going to have a happier life.
As I said, I think identity, the changing the consciousness is the key. Now, there's something else I want to, where was it? Oh, here it is. If the habit is doing something for you, and it usually is, you want to think of, as I said, to still satisfy the positive intention of it, but now in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you cannot consciously come up with that, what it is, you can douse out the following. Find a healthier, constructive alternative to achieving the same positive benefits that this habit of blank provides. Take action with the pendulum and let me know when that's done. Another thing you can say is install a strong motivation to practice any constructive alternative to blank and remove any further need or desire to blank again. Take action with the pendulum and let me know when that's done.
Those are great because it just, so is that a book that part of your book that you've written?
Yeah, I have, for those people that don't know, I have like 240 pages manual. It's an entire pendulum dowsing course called Therapeutic Dowsing and Telepathic Healing. And it has charts on smoking and eating and weight. It has secondary gain, shadow issues, positive and negative emotions issues, archetypes, a whole bunch of stuff. As I said, it's 240 pages, 8.5 by 11. And is
it available on the Dowsers or on your website? No,
it's available through my website, roxannelouise.com, and go to the top on where it says store and click on all books, and you'll see they're divided. There's Reiki books, hypnosis books, and then the dowsing books. So this book, the new edition that's coming out in 2 weeks, will have
congratulations.
The whole workshop for the dumping bad habits. It has a worksheet in it to go through all of this. So anyway, I know I've been working on habit change with clients since 1989, so it's something I'm well know.
Sounds like you and me enjoy the same, helping our clients have better lives. And instead of, I love the fact that you did it in book form. I did it in thumb drive form for people that like to have a guided meditation help them do it. And so the steps are written out, but there's a guided meditation that I have done so that people can follow. And, you know, for people that don't like reading as much and they just prefer to do it through a guided meditation. So on my ageofaquariuschico.com website, that's where you can get the thumb drive for releasing bad habits. And I also do have a thumb drive on visiting the angel in your heart, which is completely different and has nothing to do with habits, but it tends to be my students' favorite meditation. And so I finally managed to get that one in a form that people could enjoy on their own.
Mm-hmm. Very good. That's on my agenda.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Well, writing, so good. So, yes. I was going to say writing books is on my agenda, but that's not true. I'm going to be doing video classes because I think that
I'm going there too.
It's the same. It's just getting information out where it's accessible by people in different different formats, because I personally am a voracious book reader, but that's me, and other people prefer, audio. So, but yeah, it's,
right.
or,
yeah,
video.
you need to have different ways that works for others. So,
absolutely.
If they can listen to it while they're driving in the car or washing dishes or,
it is hard to read a book while you're washing dishes, rats. But it's funny, it goes right back to what you were talking about with releasing habits. Everybody does it slightly differently, and you need to do it, you have to match yourself to get the best final result. And you have to do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So going back to the idea about your belief in your ability to succeed, And I mentioned before, the most important thing is consciousness, is to change your identity to someone who has already succeeded. In other words, you imagine going forward into the future and being that new way.
Right.
And what will help,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that will help is that if you identify people who are already good at what you want to, in the way you want to act and be, and you identify with them. So I'll give you a quick, easy way, is to create your own mental tribe. So you create a circle with yourself, holding your hands out, a hand out on either side, and in the circle you have those people that you admire and respect, who are acting and behaving and have the kind of habits or anything else that you aspire to. You want to be one of them. And when you bring those people into the circle, you all join hands and you get into the place where you feel that you belong there. They are accepting you, honoring you, you're one of them. And that type of meditation has actually allowed me to become a national hypnosis presenter and then a national dowsing presenter many years ago. It's through this process of identifying with people I admire and respect.
What a beautiful idea. And it's you're doing your own guided meditation, and it's just a great, you could spend time every day doing that if you wanted.
Well, we can do it right now. It's just like 5 minutes. So
let's do it.
Okay, so if the people on the call will just close your eyes, get comfortable, whether you have your feet on the floor or imagine your feet on the floor or ground. Simply imagine now growing roots in from your feet deep into the earth. And as you breathe in, breathe energy up into your feet, your legs, and your torso, and up over your head. And as you breathe out, exhaling any tension, extraneous stress, and send that energy of stress down your feet into the earth to be recycled by all the microbes into clean energy. And continue to breathe up into your feet and your legs, because we know that grounding and manifesting are connected. So breathe in, pull the energy up from the earth, from your feet, your legs, your torso, and back down. And keep doing that for a moment, breathing in from the earth, cycling it up and pulling it back down. Now just imagine a very narrow line that runs through your body and connects the earth through you to a brilliant sun above your head. And this sun represents your divine wisdom, love, and inspiration. And allow the brilliance of the sun to radiate down through you and all around your energy field, connecting you now to heaven and earth. So you're breathing this golden light through you as you're this also very much rooted into the ground. And from your third eye, I'd like you to project a happy image of you being, acting, and living in the new desired way. It might be still, it might be a moving. A happy image of you being, acting, and living in a desired new way. And as you're projecting that image out in front of you, allow love to flow out from your heart, adding positive emotions and gratitude to energize that image. And just stay with that for a moment. Continue to have love flowing out of your heart to this still or moving new you in front of you. And now just create the circle of people I was talking about, people that you admire and respect, who are already demonstrating qualities related to the way you want to show up in the world. They might be people you've never met, people you've read about, that you've listened to, that maybe you were in a class, maybe you saw them on the video somewhere. But it might be historical figures, people you admire and respect. And these now are allowing you to be part of their inner circle. They consider you now one of them and worthy of being in their inner circle. They admire and respect you, and they feel that you have something of value to offer. All the more possible now because of the positive changes you have made in your life. And so just allow yourself to bask in that new identity and feeling so grateful to be part of this group that you admire and respect. It feels good to have made so much progress, and you're justly proud of what you have accomplished, what you've done. And allow that feeling to settle in. And when it settles in, then you can take a deep breath, come back, and open your eyes.
That one's absolutely gorgeous. Do it so people can hear your voice. I love it.
So, Margaret, what would you like to add?
It's a wonderful meditation, and I agree that anytime that you can see yourself in your new positions and is just a great way to stay focused on what you truly want. So it's not about focusing on what you don't want. It's about focusing on what you do want. And your guided meditation did that just beautifully.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add before we open it up to questions?
I am ready for questions.
Okay, so audience, in order to speak, you need to hit *6 and then you can start speaking. So hit *6 to speak, and when you're done speaking, hit *6 to mute yourself. So who has a question for Margaret or myself?
Hi, my name is Jason. Been listening for the last hour. It's fantastic. I applaud both of you. You guys are world class. This question is for Margaret. I kind of missed, what was your website and the name of your book on changing habits?
My website is ageofaquariuschico.com. And it is not a book, it is a thumb drive. So it's my voice leading you through a guided meditation on releasing the bad habits after, and there's a one-page just delineated steps that you do and then you listen to the guided meditation.
Okay, and so then it's like you go to the website and then it's an audio download.
Well, actually, it would be an audio download if I'd figured out how to do that. It's a thumb drive that I will mail you.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, you mail the thumb drive. Okay, thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Roxanne. I really appreciate it. Just to say, I'm so very, very grateful for both of you for putting on this teleconferencing call. This is exactly what I needed to hear at exactly the right time. And I just want to say to both of you, I'm so extremely grateful, and my gratitude is more than mere words can express.
Thank you.
I'd love to have you put that in writing and send it to headquarters.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question of Margaret or myself? Hit *6 to speak. Who has a question or a comment even of Margaret or myself. Everyone's quiet.
We
Well,
must have really done a great job, right?
Hello.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I tried to go to roxannelewis.com and I got an insecure site
So
from
it's RoxanneLouise.com, and it is secure. There's something weird going on, but no. People go on my site all the time. They order products there all the time, and it's not an issue. Or you can call me if you're concerned.
and what
It
is
does
that now?
seem, Roxanne, that is the newest thing now, is they have a way of putting something on our sites that say they're insecure when they're not. I had the same thing happen with mine.
Yeah,
And I,
right.
had to call my webmaster. But yeah, I don't know, I
Right.
totally, we have no ulterior motives. We have our websites to help other people, not to cause problems, right?
Right.
And Margaret, yours is ageofaquariuschico.com or bychico.com?
AgeoFaquariusChico.com.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Are there any other questions or comments from anyone? Hit *6. Somebody else have a question?
Hi, this is Pete in Santa Fe.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi
go
there.
ahead.
Hey, just a comment. I'm just grateful that you're providing, you're sharing your knowledge with us, and for me personally, it's at a really pertinent time where it's really helpful in my life to to hear what you have to say, and also about the about how habits they're actually they're frozen in time. The habits are frozen in time and kind of keep you frozen in time, or me
right.
frozen in time. And I can see how that is, and so it's really helpful to hear it. And I really appreciate you, letting us know your feelings and thoughts about all that.
Thank you.
And so thank you. And I'll remute myself and be the fly on the wall.
Okay.
I love it.
The other thing I should say, if anyone has a question after the call, Margaret, would you like to give out your phone number?
Sure. 530-520-1900.
And your email again is?
Margaret@ageofaquariuschico.com. MargaretAgeofaquariuschico.com. It's not
Sounds like a
fair.
rap
Margaret's
song.
not easy. Yeah, Margaret's not easy. Aquarius isn't easy, but it is what it is.
Okay,
It's
so my phone number is 434-263-4337, and I'm East Coast. Margaret is West Coast time. Just so you know when you call.
I love it. That's so sweet.
Would you please give that number again? You said it so fast.
434-263-4337.
Thank you so much.
And if you forget that, you can look up www.RoxanneLouise. Roxanne has 2 N's and an E, RoxanneLouise.com. And the other thing is I recommend you look at my blog. It has like 130 articles on it. It's unlimitedpotentialhealingcenter.com, but you can also get to it from my website.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, and my email is RoxanneLouise and the number 2@gmail.com. So if you did not get a chance to ask questions or you have comments, please send them to either Margaret or myself. And I am always open to suggestions on speakers you would like to hear or topics you would like to hear. If you have any particular issues with dowsing, your issues might very well be a great topic to bring up. And I can also take questions in advance of any seminar to make sure we get your question answered. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, it's Jason again. I know you've only got about 5 more minutes, and I don't know if this
We'll go to
question is
9:15.
relevant. Well, we'll see. So I'll just be totally transparent. My problem is I got a food addiction, and my food addiction's pretty bad. I'm like at least 90 pounds overweight, and it's one of these things where it's like if I don't take care of it now, further on down the line, I run the real risk of having a heart attack or a stroke or, these really like bad things happen. So what I'm curious to know is, it doesn't necessarily have to be food addiction. It could be smoking, alcohol, whatever. Are these addictions sort of like precipitated by evil energy, otherwise known as Satan, or where does the negative self-destructive habit patterns come from?
Well, there's no one answer for that. In general, addictions, to my experience, come from trying to fill a hole that's missing. That hole can be very different one person to another. It might be some kind of early childhood experience that was painful, feeling rejected, abandoned, not loved, or abused mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually. It's some sort of hole. Now, that hole does not have to be from this lifetime. It can come from before. And as I said, when you are in the womb, you absorb the emotions and of not only your mother, but the whole family environment. So that kind of stress is involved. If your mother had a food addiction, that
yes
could have been passed on to you. So the thing about my book is that you can very quickly pinpoint where the issues are. You can simply take the master chart, which can be used as a percentage, and you can get the exact page number to go to find out. Let's say, for example, whether it's my book or somebody else's book, let's say you take a number chart, percentage chart, and you say, is there anything in this book that can help me understand what's underneath this problem of? And if you get a yes, it's in the book, then you say, what page do I need to go to? And get the page number on a number chart. Go to that page and hold the pendulum on and say, please indicate, and let the pendulum drag your hand to the paragraph and even the word, the sentence that you need to look at. And then put your finger on it, say, are you telling me this sentence, this word, and see if that resonates something within you. It's like giving you clues. Now, when you work with a book or a chart, you have to understand that what you see on the page may be in the ballpark, but not exactly it. And this is where the whole point of interpretation comes into. And you want to ask a lot more questions. But this is one way to find out what's going on. But you want to have the intention of healing whatever is responsible. Now, one of the things I'm speaking about at the topic I'm speaking at ASD conference in Plymouth, New Hampshire in June is heal yourself to heal the world. But this works very well on, it's the whole, you name what it is that you want to heal, and you ask, there's so many ways of approaching it. So if you were going to approach it from the Ho'oponopono perspective, you can say, Divine Creator, I'm sorry for whatever it is within me that is manifesting this problem or issue of. Please forgive me. Thank you for clearing away, healing any erroneous thoughts, habits, emotions that are causing or contributing to this problem of. Thank you for, and then you say all these things of you're appealing to your divine connection to literally change your consciousness. So that's one of many ways you can approach this. But as I said, I have a whole book going through this stuff but the first thing is to find where the issues are. And so if you ask yourself, what is this addiction doing for me? Is it keeping me safe from something? What is it keeping me safe from? Is it making up, giving me comfort for what I didn't get or what I'm not getting now? So you want to think in terms of what is it doing for you, and then go undo the healing work on each one of those things.
That makes sense. So Roxanne, when exactly is your new version of the therapeutic healing book coming out?
2 weeks. It's at the printer now, and I just found one more thing I want to change on it. So I have the old version here. It's not that different. It's 30 pages less, but it's not that different. And it's anybody who bought the book already in the past year is going to get a PDF of the updated material anyway, so that you don't feel bad.
That's cool.
So
you
can feel bad. What?
Get the PDF. You could buy now and get the PDF, the minute that
of the changes. If you already have my book, then you give me a call or an email, and I could send you the changes perhaps next week. It includes some of most of the additional pages of the additional 30 pages are on my blog. But I wanted them included in the new printing. So it's not like you haven't lost out from there. There are some changes on the master program and the master reinforcement program, and a little bit of clarification on how to use some of the charts. And I changed the forward. So that's basically the newer information. I've included more on so just call me if you've already purchased the book.
Right.
Are there any other comments or questions?
No, just thank you, Roxanne.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Go ahead. Does somebody else have a question of Margaret or myself? Any other questions of Margaret or myself? Well, again, I'm going to mention, tune in next Tuesday. It's a different call-in number. So check your email coming from ASD because we are going to have Ellen Cami speak on 5G and herbs and dowsing and some other things. And then in May, I'm not sure what I was going to do I had one topic in mind. I'm now going to change it. But so if you have suggestions of what you'd like to hear about in May, you can let me know. And then the Discover Dowsing in May is Feather Anderson, who does geomancy and feng shui and a bunch of other stuff. So, and in June, we're going to have Dowsing on Prosperity. So we have some nice topics coming up. So are there any other final comments you want to make, Margaret?
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the amount of work that you do so that people can get information and, be part of a Dowser's tribe. It's wonderful.
Yeah, this was my brainstorm.
It's
2 years
really
ago.
good.
Okay. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, then we will close it down. So speak now, quick.
I have something very quickly, a suggestion, possible
Okay.
call. Somebody with travel and summer coming. Are there people who may specialize in travel and trips and dowsing? That's all I have to say. I'd be interested in that topic. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Well,
everything.
Right. Well, look, just as a quick comment, I know Susan Spooler has talked about that, but she's I got to make the rounds of new people. I've had Susan on twice already in the past year. But when you're thinking of traveling, you want to ask if about the conditions in traveling. Is it in your best interest to travel at that time to that location? So, for example, one of the kinds of ways that I do traveling is that I teach at several different national conferences a year. And so I made a list of some possibilities, and I doused out which ones I should even send proposals to, simply because it might be unsafe or something else could be going on that I shouldn't be going there. So there's different parts of travel. One is the location and the time of year and other priorities that you may need to focus on. So keep those in mind. But that's an idea. Anyone else have any suggestions or comments before we close? Are there anyone else? Well, Margaret, I want to thank you very much. And I thank you for all tuning in, and tune in again on next Tuesday, but watch for the new call-in information. And that will be in the ASD email, and it'll also be on the Facebook page for ASD. So I'm going to say turn off the recording and say good night, everyone. And